Hi guys, Paul Duncan here. Hope you're doing really well. Look, I thought I'd flick a quick video together just because I've had a few inquiries from a few of the people in the 21-day challenge of the process and the results that I got from that, and a little bit of the procedures and what I went through with it. So I thought rather than reach out to everybody, I'd do a quick video, probably put it on the group so people can actually look at it at their own leisure. But a little bit about me. I'm a business coach and marketing strategist. I'm a chef by trade, so I spent 19 years in the industry. And what I learned from that was that you can have the right ingredients, but without the right method, you can't produce a good dish. So I've taken that into the business world. Why am I telling you this? It's because of the mindset that you need to get into when you're actually looking at doing your marketing campaigns. So I've built some fairly big businesses. One of my success stories is a 7-figure retail food franchise business, which in 3 years I built from 1 store to 27 stores and then sold that on. But I also went through a stage a couple of years back on flipping businesses. So I would buy a business that was struggling, fairly cheap. I would put in some processes, some procedures, some systems, and then I would sell it for a profit. So then I learned from that experience from it. So I've had a little bit of background in business development, business growth, which is where my forte is. I'm also a business advisor here as well, but I look after a lot of startup businesses. But when I went through this challenge, I had a little bit of an outcome in mind. So what you need to do whenever you're looking at a marketing campaign is you need to have a look at the end in mind. So I looked at what I wanted to have from an outcome from doing this challenge, putting the ads in there, right through from start one to the end. And so I followed Calvin's process step by step, took a lot of notes, but what I was thinking in the back of my mind is how can I apply that to my skill level, to what I can actually deliver. So I had the end in mind. So if you're not a reader, I suggest you read one book by Stephen Covey where he explains you need to have the end in mind. One of my mentors said to me, readers are leaders, so I've started reading a lot of books and getting that knowledge base around it. But what I did was I looked at what I wanted to achieve. So I haven't done a lot of webinars in my time, so I looked at should I do a 5-day challenge, should I do a one-on-one coaching call, or should I do a webinar? So I thought I'd do a webinar, but what I wanted to do was I wanted to be target focused on that. So I wanted to get the right people in front of me because I have a high conversion rate when I actually sit down with people or I'm in front of people. So I thought if I can get in front of people, I know that I'll be able to close them right there and then. But there's a lot of sort of noise on social media at the moment, so hence why I took this challenge, just to sort of gain a little bit of experience around that. So thanks guys, you taught me a lot. So I've just got some notes down here so it refreshes me so I don't miss out on anything. But what I pretty much did was I looked at a 2-hour webinar, right? Growth growth webinar, mainly because of the COVID stuff out there. People are struggling, the whole lot. So I also had some case studies, a few things that I could add into the webinar as well that would give me a little bit of authority in there. I was looking at a small group. So a focused group. I didn't want to go out there generating a lot of leads, okay, because I'm fairly busy with a couple of other sort of aspects in business at the moment. So I thought, well, if I had a lot of leads and I had to follow up, what didn't follow up? So I wanted to really sort of knuckle down and say, well, I wanted 15 to 20 people in the group, but I wanted them targeted. I wanted them hot people that were ready to buy. So all I needed to do was to convert them. So my call of action was from the webinar was to get them on to a 45-minute to a 1-hour, pretty much a Zoom session. And I'll explain that process in a little while as I go through, but that was pretty much the outcome. Now, one of the things I wanted to say is that you need to do the homework. So, the homework was very valuable for me. So when we went through the dream client and the target market and the irresistible offer, all that homework that we had to do, I spent a lot of time trying to narrow down on that. So, I spent a lot of sort of hours just thinking about the ideal person. I put a name to him, Mike, male, retail, business owner, the whole lot. So in my mind, there was a specific person that I was talking to, and it made me easier coming up with a compelling message that I wanted to put across. So, do the homework. That's very, very important to have that background, that foundation before you start, even writing the ads and doing the stuff. This is, my experience from it as well. So, the target market was, small business owners, male, obviously, 30 to 40 years. The templates that we got through Calvin and the process. I had pretty much my entree and my main meal already sorted out, but I didn't have a lot of desserts, didn't have a high ticketed item. So I thought about that, but I thought for this particular exercise, I thought my entree and try and bring people in the main course. So my entree was pretty much a free, as I said, 45-minute, 1 hour session where I'd add massive value. In the webinar, I wanted to give pretty much as much value as possible so people could see that, yes, I need to take the next level. But I really needed to put that into the ad right up front to entice people to take that action and register for the webinar. So my first idea was that I was going to, the call of action from the ad was straight into a webinar registration, a Zoom webinar registration. But then I started thinking about it and I thought, no, I just need to touch point. I want to pre-qualify people beforehand. So I set up a landing page. So I sent them through a landing page which had a video on there as well, which explained a few things. So about the webinar, what they were going to learn, what the outcomes were. But I also added a questionnaire in there as well. So they had to go through a questionnaire, and some of the questions were, if you learned how to spend $1,000 with a 3 times return on it, would you, and have you got the availability to have those funds? Okay, so those questions really put down to people say, well, I don't really have the funds, I'm flat broke, I don't have it, can't really do it. Well then, they didn't fill out the questionnaire and they didn't register. Okay, so it actually pre-qualified a lot of people. I haven't gone through the analytics and the data at the moment. I'm still going through that. It's been an absolute massive week, because when I do go through the step-by-step process, you'll understand that it's been a massive week of what I've been doing. So if we get into the process, right, I followed Calvin's process step by step, right from each week when we were on the Monday and the Thursday call, went through, spent a lot of time getting all that homework done. I focused the target market around the pain points that people out there in business. Also looked at the impact of COVID-19. What was the mindset of the people that would be reading the ad for it? I did the ad. The old ad set, and I pretty much did the template that came through exactly to the template. I sent it out to a few people on my Facebook group for a bit of feedback. I got a bit of feedback which I'll share with you in a minute, but one of the things that I did do was I changed the image, and what I realised was the image is very, very powerful, because it's the first thing people look at and they need to resonate with that. So the original idea that I actually came up with was around freedom. Okay, now I didn't think about that. Okay, this is business growth. Okay, but the freedom. So it was actually a guy standing on a mountain with his hands up in the air, sun behind him and whatever. And when I sent that out there, I didn't even think about it, but I got a feedback saying from business owners, I don't resonate with that. I can see where you're coming from. Yes, it's about freedom in my business, having that lifestyle that I want, but at the moment I'm struggling. Right. My biggest challenge is that I'm worried about cash flow. I'm worried about if I can pay my bills next week. I really need some strategies to help me right now. Yes, I want to, have freedom in my business, but that's down the track. What I want right now, and that really resonated with me. So I went back. I came up with a new couple of images, which I shared on the 21-day challenge group. So if you want to have a look at that, just go and have a look at that. But it was 2 images. One was a guy standing behind a computer in his office on a desk, looking stressed, worried, a bit depressed. So it showed in his face where people resonated and said, "Oh, look, that's me." Okay. Then the next image is, a guy behind the desk, behind his computer, the smile on his face, all happy and whatever. So it was that little bit of a transition from it. Now, Yeah, it's, trial and error things. I went through the stages very, very quickly of trying to come up with an image. Not quite sure if it's the right image or not. I can sort of improve, so I'll look at doing a little bit of testing and measuring going forward. But that's the image that I came up with, and I thought, the content wasn't as important as the image to get people resonated with that. So I hope that helps you a little bit, and when you're looking at the images, make it a little bit impact. I shared the image and the content into the group as well, and I got a bit of feedback from that. So I changed a little bit of the words, changed a little bit of the content as well, and then I put in the ad, set up the ad set, put it in for approval. I got rejected twice, so I had to change a bit of the wording to get it through. But after two pretty much approvals, it was eventually approved and went forward. I put a $20 daily limit on it for 5 days leading up to the webinar. The webinar was actually on a Monday, 5 o'clock. I was going to have it in the morning, but I spoke to Mia, so thanks Mia for clarifying that a little bit, and I put that in the afternoon, mainly because I found that, after work, a lot of business owners down there, Monday is probably not the best day to do it. Okay, so I looked at other days, but that was pretty much the day that I'd sort of set in the ad and all that. So I pretty much stayed with that. Going forward, as I said, it got approved. I had a $20 budget. First couple of days, I got a few good leads, so I upped the budget to a maximum of $250 for the whole week, so the 5-6 days. The offer was pretty much, as I said, a business growth or free business growth webinar from the headline that we got. But the call of action was to a landing page where I had a video on there. So it had a learn more button, so I changed that from a registration here to a learn more. So the learn more actually had a link to the landing page where it had a video in there, and it had congratulations, thanks for taking the first step, and a few things about what you'd learn in there, a little bit more information about the webinar and what they were going to learn. But I also had a little bit of a lead magnet in there as well. I had a free ebook, so in the video it said, thanks for coming here. Even if you don't register for the webinar, I just want to thank you for coming to my page and listening to me. As a thank you gift, I've downloaded the ebook, which is how to generate leads without spending money on marketing and advertising, which is an ebook I wrote a little while ago. So they actually got some value from it. They also had to fill out that questionnaire, as I mentioned before, with a few of the questions on there. So as I said before, is it a yes or a no? If you had to spend $1,000 in your business, right, would you and could you, pretty much in the yes or a no. So it actually started qualifying people and getting them with a little bit of a mindset. Also, I also had on there, how committed are you to building your business from a scale from 1 to 5? So they really looked at it. Now, I always look at scarcity. So I said in there that I only want to work with people that are committed to building their own business. A few success stories in there, a couple of testimonials in there as well about me, but kept it very, very short and just pretty much short and sweet. So from there, I gathered a lot of the leads from the Get Response sort of campaign, the whole lot. They were mostly tradies, so which was interesting. A couple of electricians and things. So I got 18 leads from it, or 18 registrations, I should say, that registered on the Zoom link. Okay. Now I looked at their pretty much the questionnaire that they'd filled out, so I had a fair idea of where they come from, how much they were earning, what they wanted in there. So I had a little bit of knowledge around it. So I looked at all that. Then on the day of the webinar, right, I actually rang everybody. I called everybody personally, okay? So this is where it gets to the stage where I might have to automate it going forward a little bit, but I called everybody and I made sure that I spoke to them. So I didn't leave a message with them, and on that call I said, hi, it's Paul here, just look forward to catching up with you on the webinar tonight. Gave them a little bit of value. If they got any questions or anything about their business, so it was pretty much a quick sort of conversation, but I made contact with them. Okay, so I also said to them that there was nothing to buy on the webinar. Okay, I said it's purely value, so you can put your credit card away. So I think that sort of relieved a little bit of the pressure and people wanting to know what was going to happen in the webinar, if they were going to be sold to, or it was just a value packed webinar. So so pretty much on the day of the webinar, as I said, I rang the people. I wanted to give as much value as possible on that call. I conducted the 2-hour webinar from 5 to 7 o'clock. Okay. In that webinar, now, why am I telling you this? It's because I think it helped with the conversions massively. So in the webinar, I was going to just present and then have a call of action at the end, which was book in a 45-minute session. But I split it up. In the first hour, I actually presented. I gave, instead of the 8 strategies that I was looking at doing, I actually did 4, so I halved it. Okay. I gave a testimonial and a little bit of my experience of what I've done in my business and the financial returns that I did from putting that in there. But I also asked the question, if you implemented that into your business, what would it look to you? How would it change your business? So I got a lot of interaction from the group within that. I also asked, if they could put a percentage down there and a conservative percentage. So, would that increase your revenue by, 3%? Not 10% or anything like that, just get very conservative. But what would 3% add to your revenue if you actually put that strategy in place? So, that was the first hour, pretty much presenting and getting some feedback and from there on their particular business. On the second hour, right, I actually took a volunteer from the person within the group. Now, I had 18 registered, I only had 13 on the call, and that fluctuated a little bit. It went down to about 9 and then back up to 13, but people come off and on and whatever. But what I did was I got a volunteer. Okay, I asked for a volunteer that I could take them through a quick process within an hour and see if I could find some money in their business or hidden money in their business. So I got a volunteer, right? I ran through a little bit of a profit acceleration software that I've got, asked a few questions, put some stuff in there, and it actually spits out a graph. So I shared my screen, asked the questions, popped it, put in there actually live so people could see that it was actually working for this business. We found $110,000 in extra revenue in that business. Okay, so the people looked at it and thought, oh, that's it. The woman that that was the volunteer, she became one of my coaching clients for the 12 months. So I'll explain my programs in a minute. But what I wanted to do is my main meal is pretty much a 12-month coaching program, $1,000 a month. If you pay in full for the 12 months, I'll give you 13 months, so you get one month free coaching. If you pay on a month basis, payment plan, then it's $1,200 a month. So there's a few sort of bonuses in there as well to do that. The pretty much the downsell, I had a downsell in there, was a do-it-yourself system for $197. So pretty much that's what my mindset was, is that I wanted to get as many people on that coaching program as possible, but I didn't want to do it on this webinar. Right? What I wanted to do was to get them one-on-one and actually do what I'd done in that last hour for that person. So I wanted to, there was, 12 or 13 people. I wanted to sit down with those people, 45 minutes, do it specifically for their business so they could see what was the potential in their business, and they needed that help to achieve there. So, I did that for the first hour. At the end of the webinar, about 15 minutes beforehand, I actually opened it up for questions, but I put a link in there to book with me, right, over the next 2 to 3 days. And it was only a 2 to 3 day window of opportunity. I wanted to get them hot and thought about it while they were off the webinar. I had, I think about 6 in total book in right there and then. Now, I did have a little bit of a scarcity tactic to say, look, I can only take a few people, so once they've gone, they've gone. So I've had 6 people book in there straight away, book it all in. You know, that actually increased to about eight when I did get off the webinar. So people that got off the webinar, they looked at the link and booked into it. So over the next 3 days, I actually did 12 45-minute sessions. Okay, so I booked them in early in the morning beforehand. I rang a few people and sort of changed a bit of their times to fit in. But you know, I sent them through a Zoom link. I sat down them and I ran them through the software program, and I found anywhere between $1,000 and $350,000 in a person's business. Okay, and that was very conservative numbers when I ran through in 45 minutes. So you know, in essence, when I asked for the sale and said, look, I mean, I've got a coaching program that I can help you, I can hold your hand over this whole process. Okay, when you're getting, you know, you're paying $12,000, and look, I've now looked at it and I've probably undercharged what the value of this program is. But that's a learning experience and I'm quite happy with the results. It's a learning curve for me. But, you know, if you're spending $12,000 for a coaching program over the next 12 months, right, and you're getting between 50 and 100,000 minimum back, it's a no-brainer. Okay, so I was quite confident that I could do that. I've got a money-back guarantee that I explained to people in it as well. So it was a risk-free investment for them, and they signed up right there and then. I got their credit card, sent it through on that call. I didn't send them through to a payment system or anything like that. I said, look, I mean, if you're really committed to doing it, let's work together. I'd love to work with you and see what we can do in your business. You've seen the outcomes from the last hour going through your business. So let's work together, and that's how I got. So pretty much the results were, as you can see on the group page, it was about $8.24 a lead. Right, so that was really, really good. Quite happy with that. I got 18 register for it, 13 turned up. But out of that, the sessions that I did after the webinar, okay, I got 4 on a 12-month coaching program at which is, you know, $12,000 each paid up front, so that's about $48,000. Plus I got 3 on a payment plan, so that's a residual income coming from there. But I also downsold 2 of them that weren't really ready for the coaching program to do-it-yourself program, which I believe I could help them sort of build their business through it. So I added as an added bonus for that is that I'd catch up with them for 1 hour over the first 3 months, just to help them along a little bit. So I'm hoping that you know, a couple of those would come through. So, you know, a couple of notes from it. I'm still following up on a lot of the leads, getting the understanding about the analytics of the Facebook and all that. So, you know, I mean, as you could understand, last week was a very, very busy week for me doing these sessions, getting my mindset around there, plus doing the stuff that I needed to do on my normal day-to-day basis as well. But, you know, I want to be gathering the data. I want to have a look at how it actually worked a little bit more. But, you know, the biggest thing is that I was very focused on the person that I wanted to have on board. Okay, so that message, that compelling message that I was saying all the time was resonating with the person. You know, right through the whole program, right from the start, I hit their pain points through the call before the webinar when I called them to say congratulations, looking forward to catching up on the webinar. I put some value in there and hit some pain points. I tried to sort of extract a little bit out of them as well. Through the webinar, right through the webinar, I reinforced those pain points. So in essence, in the back of my mind I thought, they've got a problem, I've got a solution, I need to marry that together as best as possible. Okay, I need to be profitable for them, right? So a return on their investment, not only in financial, but their time as well. So I said in there that, you know, I mean, we're not going to be sitting on coaching sessions for hours and hours. It'll be a very quick, straight agenda that we'll follow to with a strict outcome from the end. And we'll just follow those strategies. So, you know, I mean, the 45-minute session that I did afterwards, I went into the 4 strategies that we talked about on the webinar. and I put it into their business. So they were resonating with that webinar, with the case study that I did on there, and they're putting it into their business, in their mindset, and saying, this could work with me, but, I've got the ingredients, right? All I need is a method, so I need to sort of get on the coaching program and have that method from a step-by-step point of view. So, guys, I hope that's helped a little bit. I want to try and keep it as short and sweet as possible. I might have rambled on a little bit, but, there's a few other little things that were going through my mind through the challenge as well. But, a big thank you to Calvin, Mia, Kim, and Ben for the knowledge that they did over that. So, I'm going to work on this and go forward from there. So, guys, look, I'm only a message away. So if you want to ask any questions, or if you want to catch up, or if something's not sort of clear for you, feel free to reach out. Quite happy to catch up and do it from there. But look, good luck in your endeavours, and hopefully we will talk very, very soon. Thanks, guys.